keep striving for this religion that we preach. Keep pushing for nothing's ever out of reach. Because the time we keep on driving, it's all that much we go. The time we keep on fighting, and these colors I wear will be sold through the skins of my soul.
And welcome to another rather delayed edition of the Luton Town International podcast. We are not blue tick podcasters. We are not content creators. We're not trying to do anything to go on there. But I'm joined and we've been away for a bit because, I've been on holiday. So it's, and to be honest, I couldn't think of anything worse than discussing the last couple of shits performances. However, I am joined by Gavin Daly as ever, home of the, the dancing queen, ex-president, who also conducts orchestras. Says his mental health is absolutely fantastic. His physical health is the best it's ever been. How are you, Gav?
I'm fantastic. great introduction, by the way. But you've been on holiday, and as you said, not really much to talk about.
Well, there are, but I think it's been done to death on Twitter and everything else, and people everyone's got their opinions, everything else. Everyone overreacts, and I think I'm not going to do that.
Everyone's entitled to their opinion. It may be wrong, but you're entitled to it. You may have your opinion and come off as complete fucking dumbass, but you're entitled to it.
The problem is now, I think there's so many people sort of thinking, right, because you've got some social media, they decide they're going to go for this, right, let's go for the completely overreactionary sort of, right, how loud can we shout approach to see what happens. So I refuse to do that.
Yeah, it really has got to the point. I remember, not dissing anyone else, but I remember when me, you, Stu, and Alex first started doing this, Luton Town podcast. What are you talking about? We're in the fucking conference, and now it's just who can scream the loudest, which I can't scream very loud, so we're fucking screwed. But I seen you go off on the content creator thing, and I was just kind of that's fucking hilarious.
We are not bloody content creators.
We create content, so technically we are. But I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, but I don't give a shit if anyone listens to us.
I think a better way of saying it would have been, we're not influencers. Everyone's an influencer now, or everyone wants to be an influencer.
Anyone who describes themselves as a social media influencer should be shot. I don't believe in capital punishment, but if you describe yourself as a social media influencer, that's it, up against the wall.
We're not. We're definitely not influencers. We have no influence whatsoever. I mean, we record at this point. We're recording once a month, so it's not like we can really influence fucking much anyway.
And I really don't think Rob Edwards would listen to us anyway if we did, or the board.
Maybe he should. Rob, few new ideas. You might want to listen.
Actually, I mean, I will give you some credit here because there was a rare moment with Mr. Gav. I will give him credit. The only credit you're getting me from all bloody year, but it was sort of right. He said Mark McGuinness going on some international duty. That's him injured then. And sure enough, in the warm-up, he gets injured. What is that Ireland injuring our players?
I don't know, but I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that it's bad enough that it keeps him out Saturday. We're not picking on players here, by the way. But yeah, it'd be nice if he wasn't playing Saturday. It would be, if the injury kept him out, that would be one less thing my nerves would have to deal with.
I'm sure he's a very good player in there. We paid a lot of money for him, but he's just not settled yet. And it's he can head the ball. He just seems like a rabbit in a headlight when stuff comes over as a head or anything else, which is really, really odd. So going to mention briefly a couple of games. It's very, very briefly. I mean, obviously, there's the Plymouth game. Now, build up, I thought we actually looked the better side. However, and this goes with some of the other games, we can't fucking shoot. And we can't fucking defend.
Yeah, so I remember talking to you about this, at the beginning of the season, I want to say, and I mentioned it again, I think, in the Oxford game as well to you. I was just like, we are a complete fucking shambles defensively. Results could have been a lot worse had it not been for Kaminsky in certain games. And when you're seeing all this stuff go up about man of the match was Kaminsky, it was like, it's not a great thing if your goalkeeper's getting fucking man of the match in games. But yeah, I think some of it has to do with not being able to get a settled defense. Obviously, we started the season with 2 18-year-olds in the center of in a back three, and then Amari Bell comes back. Amari Bell gets injured. Mads Anderson comes back. Mads Anderson gets injured. It seems to be chopping and changing constantly. Now, obviously, McGuinness is gone, so we're gonna have to change it again if he's not up to playing on Saturday. The defense just doesn't look like they're a cohesive unit at all, and it's been noticeable more because of the way Edwards has wanted to play with not really having Nakamba now, I guess, but not really having someone sit in front and kind of protect the back three or whatever it may be. It's been really, really noticeable how quickly teams can play through a midfield, and then they're just on top of the defense, and it's been bad.
And it's a major confidence thing as well. I think it's. I mean, there's confidence, and then there's basic areas. Like, I mean, I think the Plymouth game, their winger left pretty much unmarked a couple of times. Sheffield United, their winger, again, yes, you could say obviously it's sort of players played out of position, but you still shouldn't allow your winger that much space. And then it's just been sort of some basic errors. And then you've got Elijah. I mean, I think Elijah is a great player, or can be, but his confidence is shot to bits. And I know Edwards is trying to obviously play him into it, because I think you're right. If he can get it, he'll get one goal, he can get some more. And it does remind me that it's confidence, I think I've said it before. Andre Gray took 10 games to actually get off the score sheet. You saw that first goal that was away at Woking, and he just looked to the sky in absolute relief. He then went in and got 30. Now, I don't think Elijah's going to get 30 in the Championship, but Saturday would be a really, really good time to start.
So I think this is where we differ. I think Elijah could definitely hit 30, but I agree with you. It's all about confidence right now. And so I've watched games where he's looked completely and utterly lost. Like he's on an island by himself. And then I watched the Oxford game, and he was so much better. And I think I mentioned it to you, Brown was playing a lot closer to him in the Oxford game than Chong or anyone else has in previous games, which I think helped him. It took a lot off him. And I think once you get Morris back, I think you need to try find a way of playing those two centrally, where one of them's not out wide. That probably means changing formation and changing your tactics a little bit, but he definitely looks a completely different player when he has someone up alongside him. I don't think he's someone that can play a lone striker role.
Not to that extent. So it's, I know people are saying, right, Joe Taylor, maybe Joe Taylor should come and give him a chance. I mean, Joe Taylor, he's done well in League 2, League 1. I don't think that necessarily means he can sort of lead the line in the Championship on his own just yet. I mean, he's looked threatening a couple of times when he's come on a sub. The other one I'm going to say is Corley Woodrow. Corley Woodrow is not everybody's favourite player, but I think when he's come on a sub, he's actually delivered some decent crosses, and he's actually looked probably the better sub coming on. So
if you, to me, if you're going to turn around and say Morris is not back, say Morris is not back. If you're going to try and say, right, Eli, we're dropping it to the bench, we need to try to find goals from somewhere, because we do. I think it's Woodrow before Taylor, and I know people will be completely outraged at that why are you playing Woodrow before Taylor? Because Woodrow can play that role better. Taylor's very much a player who needs to play off the shoulder of the last defender, beat them with pace, and get himself into positions. He's not going to be someone where you're going to be able to put the ball forward and he's going to collect the ball and hold it up and hold off defenders, because that's what Eli's having to do right now. So if you're not changing tactics and you're not changing the way you play, there really is no reason to replace Eli with Taylor right now. Now, Eli,
I'm going to completely disagree with that for one good reason. It made perfect sense since what I was thinking, and that cannot happen.
But it's true. Like, Taylor's very much a player that needs to play off the shoulder of the last defender. Again, Taylor would be good if you're going to play it 2. If you play it 2, I would like to see Eli and Taylor. If you're playing 1 and you're dropping Eli for whatever reason, injury, whatever else, and you don't have Morris back, it needs to be Woodrow. Woodrow's just better at holding up the ball. He's more experienced. He's got the nous to be able to deal with defenders on his back and bring players into games. Taylor doesn't have that right now. And I get the screaming and crying for get Taylor onto the pitch. I get that. But unless you're changing your formation to play him or changing your tactics, you can't play Taylor in the role that Eli is playing right now. Because if you think Eli is bad in that role, Taylor will be absolutely, completely destroyed.
I think if you're going to play a front three, you need to play a front three with one of the wide players coming in central support when the ball's on the other side.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
effectively, you've got two up front, just some cycling of two.
And here's the thing, like against Oxford, when I was watching the game, it very much looked like Brown was up beside Eli. Yeah, he was dropping off to the left like a little bit, but he seemed to be like when you looked at it, he seemed to be up top with Eli, with Clark playing right in behind him in the hole behind him, which I have no problem with. And I get wanting to get this 3 forwards of one right, one left, one center. But if you can play like that and it works, and it did work for Oxford for a long period of the game, then do that. That needs to be what we do. Get someone up beside Eli to help him out. That works perfectly if it's Eli and Taylor. Or if Morris comes back, Eli and Morris, because the two of them are a handful, with Clark in behind. But when Chong comes into the team, then Chong's not someone you can play through the center. He's just not. You got to get him out wide. You got to get him into wider positions. And him and Dowdy have a good understanding with each other. That's a decent tandem, but it doesn't help Eli at all.
No, I mean, I think it's, Chong you can play. I think Chong you can play as a number 10 as long as you've got the side midfield behind it, because he's a player who may get ball away, but he would actually draw people into him. He'll draw two players and he will draw fouls as well. But you need something to profit from that.
And I think the other thing we need to do as well is we need to get Dowdy further forward. So maybe Dowdy's one of the three. Maybe you go Dowdy, Brown, Eli.
Well, he kind of tried to vary something. I mean, he was more 4-4-2 against Sheffield United, and Doughty out on the right wing, which was a little bit odd. Yes, we know he can use his right foot, but it seems to be 4-4-2. That's a good way of trying to start it. I don't think he was quite as bad as people said, but it's still sort of there's too many square pegs and round holes. I mean, can we at least get some octagonal pegs and round holes?
Like, if I have no problem with playing a 4-4-2, but put Dowdy on the left. That's where he's most dangerous. That's where he's best. Stick him on the left. Like against Oxford, the one thing that was totally obvious was Moses was nowhere to be seen in that game until they pushed him further forward. And when they got him further forward, he started impacting the game. There's no point in having a player like Moses and sticking him at right back or right wing back in our case. There's just no point. Get him further forward. So if you want to play a front three, then go Dowdy, Eli, Moses.
Yeah.
And then in the three
and with someone pushing up to support Eli as well.
Well, yeah, you'd have Moses as you were talking about. If the ball's on the left, that right hand side winger needs to be inside. So it'd be Moses, or if it's on the right, Dowdy needs to be inside, helping Eli. You know.
At least you then sort of trying that, get the midfield more solid so it can't be bypassed. I mean, obviously Walsh, from what I saw when he came against Oxford, I think he had a brilliant 37 seconds.
What a fucking moron, eh?
I mean, I had the luxury of only being able to follow it by Twitter, so.
He was on the pitch for 37 seconds, but how long was the game actually in play? Because the two subs came on, the game was stopped, obviously. By the time the game restarted, I want to say in-game play, he was there for less than 10 seconds.
But that's a memorable 10 seconds.
Jesus. And, I felt so bad because it's obviously like Edwards is bringing on the subs to try impact the game. He's bringing on Walsh to try to get more control of the ball and try to get more passing into the team and get a grip hold of the game. And he's bringing on Woodrow to help Eli up front and, go for it. Really go for it. And then Walsh goes and does that. Woodrow has to, which I have to say, Woodrow did a very, very good job when he had to move back in the midfield. Like he didn't do anything stupid. Like he didn't give the ball away. He didn't it was basic. He didn't get sent off after 10 seconds. Yeah. I mean, low bar, but yeah, Woodrow was okay. It wasn't what was planned, but it's what happened.
I mean, all I can say is hopefully we've had the international break, so it's sort of so 2 weeks off, and hopefully just tweaked a few things. So because Saturday is a game, there is no hiding place.
No, and we getting on to Saturday. We'll probably talk about Saturday more, and we'll talk about the games that have already happened. But Saturday, to me, Saturday's game, considering where both teams are in the league, and don't fucking maul me for this, you can lose if you lose it in the right way. Like if you go out there and you play an excellent game of football, and you get everything right, and Watford just get one lucky break and score, and it's 1-0, that's the final score. You kind of sit there and go, look, we're not happy that we lost to Watford. No one ever will be. But we played the right way. We did the right things. We played well, If you go out there on Saturday and play the way we have been playing and defend the way we have been defending, that's when the nerves start kicking in.
I think in terms of Saturday, given a choice of playing well and losing or playing badly and winning, you take the playing badly and winning, because it's if you lose, even if you play well, I think losing to that lot, people will get vocal, and that's not good. People
will get vocal, but people have been vocal already, and you know what I mean. Like I'm the same way. If we played terrible and won 1-0, I'd be fucking over the moon. I wouldn't be happy with the performance, but happy with the result. But what I'm saying is, with the bad run of form we've been on, if we did lose and it was 1-0 and it was a fluky goal and we played well, yes, there would be, as you said at the beginning of this podcast, people on social media yelling and see who can yell the loudest. But at the end of the day, the real fans and the true fans will know, look, we lost. It's not what we wanted, but we played well, and hopefully we can build on that going into Sunderland and Coventry. But if we play absolutely terrible and get thumped by this lot, Edwards' job becomes really, really precarious.
I mean, the board won't move for anything at the moment, but if it's difficult, if the fan base really starts turning against you, and I think at the games, social media is different, because social media is, well, let's face it, my social media is full of fucking Trump stuff at the moment, so.
But yeah, like it will depend on the board. I don't think will do anything drastic. And here's the other thing as well. When we talk about this, the board won't do anything drastic because they know what the payoff's going to be. We don't know what the payoff's going to be. And considering you just signed a new 4-year deal in the summer, payoff will be decent.
I mean, I think obviously, the solution is quite simple. Just fucking beat the fuckers.
Just
hopefully by playing well.
Yeah, hopefully by playing well. Just win games. That's ultimately what comes down. But here's the thing. You look at the last 5, and obviously they're in the playoff positions right now, and we're struggling. But you look at the last 5, we both won 2 of the last 5. I think we've got an identical record in the last 5.
They've been drawn. Yeah, I think they won the first 3, but I think they've been inconsistent. We are playing below what we should be playing. Yeah, definitely. I don't know what you put that down to. I mean, obviously, social media morons will say it's the manager, but that's the sort of, but that's them going out the Watford approach of change your manager every 6 months, and it's done them fuck all good for years and years and years. So I don't think that's the approach. I think we just need to get a system that the players work with, get it confident, and just get that result and sort of, push it forward.
I think there's certain things that Edwards does need to change. Like I seen Reece Burke came out after the Sheffield United game and was like, we just need to get back to basics. We just need to get back to being nasty.
I agree 100%.
We just need to get back to being nasty. And I'm like, yes, why have we ever got away from that? That's us. That's what we're supposed to be. Why are we trying to get away from that? Why are we trying to get away from what we are? There's certain things that Edwards does have to take responsibility for, and he is. You can see in his interviews, like, he's not happy about any of this. Like, some of it is down to him, some of it is on the players, and like he's as a manager has got to find a way of, because it is confidence. He's got to find a way of getting confidence into the players.
Yeah, I think the confidence there. I mean, Saturday, if we push, don't concede, especially if you get to an early goal and just keep pushing for it, that will get the entire crowd going. Yeah,
and there's certain players that on Saturday are going to be extremely important. Mengi is going to be extremely important. Burke is going to be extremely important. Kaminsky is going to be extremely important. That defense needs to be better. End of discussion, just needs to be better. Nakamba is going to be important. Kraus, if he plays, is going to be important because of his press. You know, like that. I've often heard said from ex players that you build a spine of your team and then you fill around it. Right now, the spine of our team, because we don't have Nakamba playing consistently the way we would like him because he's just coming back from injury and the defense been so weak, we don't have a spine. And Eli being poor, that's your spine. Pretty much, that's your spine. Nakamba's not midfield, so that's our midfield. Not completely gone, but it's one of our more important midfielders.
It's one of the assets because he can break it down and stop people passing through. And then if he can win it, then you can actually build it to the attacking players. So
exactly. Eli's off form and the defense is just weak. You know, so the spine of your team's gone. You need to find a way of getting that spine back somehow.
I mean, what a way for Eli to get back form would be to, you know, even if he just scuffs off his shin or something like that.
Can I call it right now? Luton win 3-2. Eli hat-trick?
Hat-trick's optimistic. I was going for he'd score at least, maybe coming from the bench if Morris is fit. Going for more of a 2-1 and Kraus is the other.
I don't think you play Morris even if he is back. You put him on the bench just because he's been out for a couple of weeks.
He's been out for a couple of weeks, but he did score 2 in the last game, so he does have confidence. I mean, I think last season, I think we saw it was Morris was the main striker. Then Eli came on, scored a couple. Morris was going through a bad patch. Eli came on, took that striker's berth until then Morris could actually come on the bench, score, and then they're playing them both up front. So it's almost like getting people into confidence from the bench. Yeah.
But yeah,
I don't care how we get this confidence, just beat those flyers.
I really think we'll win on Saturday for some reason. I don't understand why. It could ruin my whole day because I have to get up at 4:30 to watch the fucking game. So if I get up at 4:30 and then have to work, you don't want to be around me that day, especially if we lose to Watford. But I don't know. No. There's something about this game that I'm just kind of sitting there going, I think we got this. I think we maybe famous last words, you know, but
form book goes out the window in local derbies, so they say.
Yeah, which works for both teams because both teams aren't exactly in red hot form. You know, Watford are obviously in a better league position, but as I just said, last 5, 1-2, lost 2, drawn 1. Luton's last 5.
I just think the crowd have got a big thing. The crowd do not turn and absolutely give 100% fucking abuse to those yellow cunts.
Maybe we need to get Ronnie Henry back before the game, which wouldn't be a bad thing because we're struggling at right back right now.
I think you might be pushing it there, so.
But yeah, Edwards needs to get his decisions right. Like everything else needs to go. Like I get we're playing Watford, and I get it's for a lot of fans a must-win game, but he has to get his tactics right. He can't sit there and go into the game going, "It's Watford. I cannot lose." He needs to go into this game going, "We're going to win this." Like last season during the Premier League season, we were getting beat almost what seemed like every week. We were playing decently, we were playing well, we were putting up a fight, but we were losing every week. But he was so jovial and so upbeat, and now you just look at him and it's a complete different story. Like he just looks beaten. He looks like he's been like knocked around by Mike Tyson for a couple of rounds in his prime. You know, he just looks beaten. He's starting to look old.
Because I think whatever he's trying is just kind of not working. I don't think it's... The thing is, even some of that, he's not going out saying to defenders, I want you to let the ball bounce. If they're dangerous winger who you think we tried to sign gets the ball, give him 5 yards of space. That's fine. No issues. He's not doing that. So it's kind of individual errors. So I think it's kind of the management down to the players and everything else. It's right. Get your plan, stick to it, and so, you know, listen to that crowd right behind you. Make sure they're right behind you at the end.
Yeah, the one thing that absolutely can happen on Saturday is Watford get an early goal. Watford get an early goal. Kenny could flip big, and that's not what you want.
You've just guaranteed they're getting an early goal, man.
I know, but I've also guaranteed Eli to score a hat trick. So you know.
Okay, so that's still within 3.
We're good. We're good. You know, but yeah, like absolutely. Like the one thing you don't want, first 10, 15 minutes for them to score. Because whatever
you don't
game
want to score for the first
don't want
90,
to score at all.
100 minutes, or actually all fucking game, basically.
You don't want them to score at all, but the first 10, 15 minutes would be disastrous.
Yeah.
Because whatever game plan you've got then just goes out the window. You know, because you've got to go chase the game. You've got to go try score. You know, just one thing that I don't know if it's been brought up. I try to stay off social media after games as much as possible because I know how toxic it can be.
That's a wise choice. I'm trying, because otherwise you look at it and you think, oh, for God's sake, and it's just...
Yeah, I try to stay off it as much as possible because I know how toxic it can be, and I don't know if it's been mentioned on there, but one thing I think this team is missing right now, and I don't know, I haven't heard anything about Locks being brought in before the game or whatever into coaching or not into coaching, but into the training ground and the build up to the game. But we're badly missing a leader.
Yeah, and I think he would do that. And I would not be surprised if he's playing before Christmas.
I think I've made my feelings about this known to you off podcast, but I mean,
I think obviously he's training, he's fit. If the medical professionals sort of say it there, I think he's kind of, that could be, I don't want to say, right, that's what our season's depending on, because it's, it almost be terrified seeing him play a game. But if the medical professionals saying it there, and I think there's hints, he will be wanting to play a game, and he could play a game. And I think if that's the case, he could be playing before Christmas.
For me, it would be... You got to listen to the medical professionals, obviously. But for me, it would be very, very mixed emotions, because every time anything happened with him involved, it would just be a heart and mouth moment. I don't think I could really enjoy a Luton Town game with him on the pitch, because it'd just be in the back of my mind constantly, you know, which is selfish on my part. I know that, because obviously he wants to come back and play, and I think he's kind of like, one of the things that really surprised me was like when it happened, all the stuff afterwards was like, well, I'm gonna leave it up to professionals. If they tell me I can play, I want to play, and he was adamant that he wanted to play, which is his right, you know. But
then he did go through a phase of saying that, so he accepts that he might not be able to play a game, but then he's been sort of going through, and I suppose the other thing they said, he's almost indestructible now. He has this kind of has this inbuilt sort of, you know, defibrillator. So
and I don't like that word either. I get what he means. Like it'll kick his heart back in, but at the same point, like I don't like that word indestructible, because other things can happen too.
Yeah,
you know. And
I mean, I think basically it's neither of us are doctors, quite clearly, because we're doing this. Otherwise, we're doing surgery. But I think if it's medical advice and he's happy with it and everything else, there's no pressure to come back.
Yeah.
If he's happy with the newborn thing, he and the doctors will know better than we do.
Yeah. And I know he's done other things. I think he's gone to get his coaching badges as well. So, I mean, you never know. Maybe he's the next Luton manager.
You could see that happening at some point.
He could be the Luton manager by Christmas.
I think there's enough pressure on the pitch.
Never mind playing again. He could be fucking coaching us by Christmas.
To see, but anyway, hopefully we should be recording next week, because we try and only record after a win, which has been few and far between. And then if we don't, tell you what, if we lose, you're not fucking singing for another month.
Yeah, if we lose, we'll see you in November. Because right now I think we didn't win in August, we didn't win in September, October, so we'll see you in November. Maybe around Thanksgiving time.
I would say we just put quality out every so often, but we just put this out every so often.
It's not quantity, it's quality.
It's content creation.
It's content creation, exactly. But yeah, like, hopefully we're back here next week. Because there'd be no better feeling than talking about beating the Scum. But
exactly. I think
at the same point,
that yet again.
At the same point, if we lose, I don't even think I'm going to want to look at your face.
If we lose, do you really think I'm going to come here and talk about it? The answer is
You won't.
no.
You won't even answer me on WhatsApp if we lose.
You're right. Anyway, so I will see you next Tuesday.